Bum, 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 Mr. Sandman. So we were going to give you a review of the latest episode. Would have been a little late because I overslept.
Yeah.
But you know, we finally. I had some family issues needed dealing with, so I didn't get to sleep on time. I ended up oversleeping. We were recording this on Sunday, but
No excuses.
What ended up happening? We sat down to watch the video, and it started. And it told us not to watch it.
So we did what we had to. And
we felt that, you know, we wanted to preserve the artist's intent.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't want us to watch, I think it's a very interesting artistic statement.
Yeah, to have that whole blank space, which most likely had an episode in it that we don't watch.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting because it sort of encapsulates, you know, all the lost art, the lost episodes of Doctor Who that we can't see. Because there is an episode, but we're not watching it.
It's true. I can make that connection, which proves that it's the author's intent.
Exactly.
Also,
though I guess I don't know how much this is going to really work for our audience. You know what? I think as much as I hate to, you know, violate authorial intent, maybe let's watch the episode. All right.
No. Well, okay.
And we're back.
We're back.
That was quite an episode.
Yeah, so I'll say this, it's going down as one of the most memorable ever.
Yeah. You know,
yeah.
To quote a certain infamous professional wrestling booker, you may not have liked it, but you're still talking about it. Shows I did something right.
Yeah, I guess also heavy spoilers.
This is going to be heavy spoilers as much as we understood the episode.
Yeah, it's an episode where it's hypothetically easy to spoil, but, I mean, who even knows?
Alright, so here's the thing, you know, we do like to try to be as authoritative as we can and explain as much as we can, but we also feel that honesty is important. We're not going to bullshit you. We were a little confused by this one.
So we watched the final speech a couple more times. To try to figure it out. The main thing is, and I think we should dispense with even going through the episode. At this point, we could sort of just talk about how it was very effective horror and good pacing and such.
There was some stuff I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
You know, taking it from the top.
That's fine.
Do you watch a lot of found footage?
No, I don't.
Okay, that might be why I have a little more to say.
Okay.
Because I watch a fair amount of found footage. Is Paranormal Activity the only one you've seen? Have you seen
I saw Blair Witch, and I saw, oh no, it's gone. It's all gone.
I've never seen that one.
You saw Blair Witch, right?
No, I've just never seen It's Gone, It's All Gone.
Oh, okay.
It's weird part. It sounds like it's one of these recent movies that likes to just have a name that's almost like a weird title. Like a weird sentence.
Yeah.
The name is a title! Alright, so this episode kind of is, I want to say mean-spirited, because it's not. I mean, it's an episode made by somebody who has noticed a lot of written whatever by somebody who has noticed a lot of problems with found footage movies.
Written by Mark Gatiss, by the way.
Not a fan of found footage movies.
Yeah.
Either he's like not a fan or he is something a fan. And it brings up a lot of the issues that you see, especially in bad found footage of things.
Mm-hmm.
The ending might be the only time where them kind of having something that can be an issue in bad found footage is also an issue in the episode.
Okay.
And I'd get to that when I can. But because there's a lot of things, you know, a lot of time you watch a found footage movie, you're like, where is this camera? Like, you know, you'll see, I think you have one, I don't remember what it was, there's an exorcism in it. I know that. Not like The Last Exorcism or something.
Okay, I'm pretty sure there have been a couple found footage exorcisms recently.
Yeah. It was not a good one.
Okay.
I can say that. But there's a section that's in a lecture hall in the Vatican.
Very scary. Sorry, go ahead.
The idea is they're filming this because they're making a documentary, and they're the weirdly, conveniently appropriate lecture hall for young exorcists in the Vatican, where they're learning about how to do the exorcism that will occur later in this film. But they keep cutting back and forth to like a conversation between the professor and one of the students, and one of the students, like when you get these shot things that are a perfectly fine shot of him, but then you get a cut of the whole lecture hall, and there's no cameraman standing there.
Yeah, and also like a thing that you see sometimes. I saw in Paranormal Activity when we watched it recently was there being cuts where the camera moves, but the conversation continues as if no time has passed.
Yeah,
and it's really quite clear that no time has passed.
Yeah,
when there's only one camera that could possibly be there.
Though in this case there are multiple cameras.
Yeah.
In this one. But it was still another one that was interesting that that they kind of demonstrate, shall we say, is found footage makes use frequently of like stationary cameras, that are the
stuff like security footage.
Yeah, security footage, whatever. Cameras that are not just not originally put to film like the events, but for another purpose, like security footage, or that are put to film events where it just seems really, really weird that there's a camera here. And that happens in this episode. There's several shots where there's like 2 or more cameras, like it seems like there's 2 or 3 cameras in one room. Where, and they're security cameras, and like they have similar coverage, and the parts where they don't share coverage are like just a little bit off the corner of the screen, so nobody would really want to put a camera there. I did notice. Okay, one thing I noticed.
Yeah. During the episode, you even paused. You were so convinced it was important, which is not something I think we've ever done during this watch through. You paused and... Okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry for that.
What? I'm not complaining.
Okay, in case it did affect. But it was one where I was kind of trying to catch up. It was also right after there was a section where the guy had his little night vision on, and it was like his night vision goggles, and the camera was night vision too, and then it was clearly... So I was starting to think there's something really... Throughout like the minute or and a half before that, I was starting to think there's something really weird about the camera placement here. Mm-hmm. Like there was a camera where there shouldn't be a camera. There was a camera where, there was this guy had a camera that could only have been his eye. Mm-hmm. That sort of thing.
Of course, Clara having a camera was the thing I remember.
Yeah, and the one I paused on was the doctor and Clara run into like a cold room, and like we see the camera run into the cold room. Then we get the security footage of the door, and it only shows Clara and the doctor have run into the room, and then the woman runs in next to him. Mm-hmm. And there were a couple other times I'd seen that, but that was the most
obvious.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So
I think that kind of cleverness counts for a lot.
That does. Using the conceit of found footage to play with your expectations. And especially kind of lulling the audience into a false sense of security with the fact that these are things that you see in found footage a lot, and then it explains it. Mm-hmm. Clara... Okay, so now let's at least explain a little what the plot of the episode, and we'll have the spoiler.
Yeah.
So, not the ending spoiler, but the sort of spoiler, yeah.
Sure.
So, this episode, the Doctor and Clara show up on a research base, under siege! Yeah. They show up at this base, and everyone is dead. And you get a bunch of Space Marines show up. And they're each given quick personalities and survival ratings.
I don't even know, what does that mean?
I think that was sort of a sort of weird thing that you sometimes see in a found footage thing, is where characters will be given like a brief bio as soon as you see them or something.
Yeah.
Where it's like, none of this comes up again.
Yeah, but what was the survival rating?
I think it was, I have no clue, I think it's just bullshit. It's like, survival rating, 8 out of 10. Good job! You survived, 8 out of 10 points. Yeah. So we meet the Space Marines run into Clara and the Doctor, who are bantering about the fact that people don't put the word space in front of things and other such stuff. It's fun. It's good dialogue.
It's fine. Yep. It's funny because it's like they walked into a found footage movie that they didn't belong in.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's also, we've seen before stuff exactly happening basically like this, where the Doctor and Clara will be bantering and then soldiers seem to jump out of nowhere. And here we're seeing it from
the other perspective.
From the soldier's perspective, where you're in this horrifying situation and then these weird people are just chatting and making really inane conversation about how your research base looks like a Chinese restaurant. Japanese restaurant.
Yeah.
So, we meet our Space Marines. They've each got a little basic personality trait that is, there's the one who doesn't particularly care for the modern technology stuff. And he does, and then there's the leader, and there's I guess we're told he's something of a joker, but we never see him tell any jokes or anything.
Yeah. We do see him die.
We see him die.
Is that a joke? No.
And we see the Grunt, who was my favorite character.
Yeah, the Grunt was the best character.
There's cloned soldiers in the 38th century.
Yeah.
Called Grunts, who are not particularly intelligent.
But not particularly respected or in society, clearly.
Well, I'm not totally sure of that. I mean, I'd imagine probably, but with what we've seen, they are sufficiently disrespected that people aren't going to get really upset with, say, Chopra because Chopra's the one who consistently refers to the Grunt as it, and the others refer to the Grunt as she.
Yeah.
So,
well, the point is, there's clearly no disciplinary action.
Yeah, he's not getting in trouble for it.
Yeah.
So, it's sufficiently disrespected. We don't know exactly what their place is, but they're probably basically seen as unusually, slightly more intelligent military equipment.
Yeah.
But the Grunt was pretty great. It's really kind of hard to give a character like that a performance that's kind of empathic.
Yeah.
Because the sort of big friendly giant is a common trope, but it often comes off just an idiot who doesn't know better.
But he was just a real person, just happened. She?
Yeah. She.
That's the thing. This freaking base is so dark.
You can't fucking see it.
I had no idea.
I only know it was she because they kept calling her she.
Okay.
And there was a little bit of a romantic subplot, but I couldn't tell.
I thought it was a gay romantic subplot.
Yeah, there's no reason. I was like, there's no reason it can't be a gay. The reason 474 can't be gay.
But yeah, I had absolutely no idea.
So yeah, you've got the Space Marines. They run into the Doctor and Clara. And all this seems to be shot from the perspective of helmet cams. We're told it's helmet cams. There's some footage taken from around the base, so it looks like helmet cams and security.
Yeah. Of course, this is all introduced to us by
Rasmussen.
By Mr. Man. Rasmus?
Rasmussen. Professor Rasmussen.
Razzle dazzle.
Give them the old razzle dazzle. Razzle dazzle them.
Like that, yeah.
Yeah, very musical episode. So yeah, we meet basically our cast for the episode to start. with, and before they see Rasmussen. Looks like it's shot from the helmet cams and
security
footage. Clara gets eaten by a bed, as has happened to many greats before her, such
Cyberbed. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Such as, the great actor Johnny Depp, who was once eaten by a bed. The first Friday the 13th movie.
Oh, yeah.
And the entire cast of Deathbed, the bed that eats.
Yeah.
So she gets eaten by a bed, and they pull her out, and she's like, wow, I got eaten by a bed. And immediately after that, we start seeing shots from her perspective as well.
Yeah.
But we still never get shots from Chopper's perspective.
Or from the doctors.
Then the grunt notices that one of the beds has a person in it, which I like that the grunt noticed that.
Mm-hmm.
I also like there's kind of a reason it was the grunt who noticed it, which I also approve. Which is that everyone else was so distracted by chatting that they got absorbed in each other.
Yeah.
And they didn't notice they lost track of their surroundings.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the grunt didn't care about surroundings, was not really made to be that much of a social creature.
Mm-hmm.
So it was looking at everything all the time. And it was nice to have a reason the grunt is a valuable part of the team, other than just because it hits things.
Mm-hmm.
She hits things. I don't want to be racist against future genetically engineered people. They open it up, and there's Professor Rasmussen. He explains he's,
the last survivor.
I'm the last survivor. We were all eaten by sand, basically. And we find out what's been going on, and the reason we get these shots is that it's actually the sleep in people's eyes when they use these magic sleep beds. Sci-fi magic, but magic. It's called the Morpheus beds. And the sleep and the dust in their eyes is what these monsters are made of and how they see, and that's why Clara sees things. That's why we have weird camera shots.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
so I think this is maybe the dumbest, most preposterous, least believable thing that Doctor Who has done in a very long time.
Yeah. I will believe DNA lightning before this.
I would. DNA lightning from that Dalek episode is more believable than this.
Thing is, this is a better episode.
This is a way better story.
It was definitely more enjoyable. And they build everything around it enough that it's like, I guess you really couldn't have told this story without your stupid idea.
Yeah.
So
it was close to, they acknowledged it, and it was close to having a version of the episode where it would be acceptable.
Yeah.
But the problem is, it's not all like a weirdo dream. It's not really, or I don't think it is. So it must really be happening, but it doesn't make sense. And the Doctor's like, none of this makes sense, right at the end, it's one of his last lines, and, well, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, the people get turned into the dust in their eyes.
Yeah, okay.
So now the actual twist.
Yeah.
Because I revealed the twist that happens halfway through the episode. The actual twist, because it looks like Rasmussen gets eaten, but he wasn't eaten. He was actually working with the creatures. And in fact, he actually is one of the creatures. And the creatures, also there's monsters that look like they're eating people.
Yeah.
The creatures that look like they're eating people are made of, apparently, the sleep in your eye.
Yeah.
Like when you sleep, but you use these Morpheus beds that speed up the sleep cycle. Should have established that earlier, but this is so weird.
Yeah.
Morpheus beds speed up your sleep cycle, so therefore the sleep in your eye eats you.
So the immediate question, and the thing that they never talked about, and the thing which had me the whole episode wondering, and being aware, having the strange feeling that something was supposed to be wrong, but then it never actually was followed up on. First of all, big question, where does the sand come from? And where does it stay? Is it hanging out in the pods when you sleep? Is it wiping it out of your eye and storing it? Literally, we are given to believe that there are monsters walking around made of the stuff. Yeah. And it came... so the machine is making you produce more of it, But
it's really unclear.
Once again, where is it? And why does it sometimes show up? Because we see the Sandmen get through a locked door. Like, one of the dudes gets
by
through...
punching the window there.
No, not that. One of the dudes gets through that door where he needed to sing the Sandman song.
Oh, yeah.
Great scene, by the way.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it in a sec. But he gets through there, door closes behind him, he is safe. We get a pretty good view of the place. Doesn't look like anything's in the corner, but I guess there could be.
I thought the thing in the corner was the camera. Was the guy, we got a shot of the corner. So I thought, a shot from the corner, I just assumed the monster was there.
So we're seeing it out of the sand in its eye.
Yeah, but again, I can't. It was sometimes very hard to tell if there was a monster in the room or not.
The question becomes, so they could also be, wearing my ignorance on my sleeve here, no shame, because nothing to be ashamed of, are the monsters actually people who have been consumed by the sand?
Maybe again, we're both very confused by this.
Yeah, but then they also eat people, but maybe that's fake because he was working with them?
Or they eat people, but maybe that's not how they reproduce, because maybe we're left to think that it's I almost felt like there was this... Okay, so here's part of the problem. Later in the episode, we are given to believe that if one of the creatures gets back to
Earth,
not Triton, but Earth, all of humanity will die. Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
I'll accept that for the sake of argument.
The sand will spread the infection.
Yeah. The sand will spread. That therefore they can't get back there and the sand occurred because these were special Morpheus pods.
Yeah. So the Morpheus pods can.
We were not quite. It was okay. I'll tell you the final twist again. Rasmussen was working with them. In fact, Rasmussen was one of them disguised as a person this whole time. End the episode. Every time you got a scene transition or a little blip across the screen, that was the electric signal that is turning you into sand or will make you turn into sand or something like that.
So the old-fashioned, not old-fashioned, but well-worn but acceptable ring twist.
Yeah.
You're going to die because you watched the thing which showed people dying because of the thing.
Yeah. Although in this one, it actually has somebody get up and explain it.
Yeah.
As opposed to the ring where you just but like the ring, it was a lot of the scene transitions. You'd get blip across the screen, blip across the screen.
That's another place where it was genre savvy, because that's the sort of thing you expect, just random interference, because to remind you that it's raw footage.
Yep.
As opposed to like totally worked out and beautiful footage from a set.
Yep.
But it doesn't actually make sense, and of course it is something that's related to the plot.
Yeah. So there were a couple things. So it turns out this whole episode was his plan to make them. The creatures, I guess, don't need to look like monsters. They can just look like people. The way he said I guessed maybe they were one hive mind.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever it is, the video is the electronic signal that kills you.
Yeah.
Turns you into a sleep guy. To be fair, I was having trouble sleeping.
Coincidence?
I think so.
Yeah, probably. To be honest. So the big question is also, how long has he been a sleep man?
Yeah.
Did he make himself into a sleep man with his
I
experimentation?
assumed he was a sleep man the whole time. The whole episode, yeah.
No, but I mean before that, in his history. He has this lab.
Yeah, when did he become a sleep man?
Or was he an infiltrator from a species of sleep man that exists independently of the Morpheus pod?
Well, he said it was... The implication I got was that the Morpheus pod was adjusted to be a zapper that adjusted his experiments caused the Morpheus pod to adjust and zap people, and this is again my guess on the final explanation. I really feel like this could have been written better. We've watched it a couple times now. I feel like this could have been done better.
Oh, absolutely. But the big question becomes: so is he? because they set up the fact that the Morpheus pod can zap your brain to make it different, but he can also send signals through video. Or
maybe.
like it would make more sense. The more reasonable version of this is that pods around the world start having that effect.
Yeah, or maybe that you're...
The very fact that they set up these pods having this effect makes it weird when it's not pods that have the effect.
Yeah, and that, like, maybe he said he would send it to the whole solar system. Maybe he was sending it to the pods. Maybe.
Okay.
He didn't say I'm sending it to the pods. He said I will spread it throughout the solar system.
Mm-hmm. They were probably trying to straddle the gap between the in-universe place he must be sending it and the fact that we are watching it at home. He doesn't want to say, you and your pod, because then it's like, well, yeah, we're obviously not in the 37th century. We are, so he can't be sending the signal to us, and our, immersion as the person who's getting killed by this is gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
So he's sending it throughout the solar system, and the electric signals we've been seeing, he made it a really good story, so we couldn't look away.
I really like that.
Yeah.
He was like, so all the horror stuff, all those scary moments, I just wanted to make sure, presumably he needed to send the signal enough times or it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
He just wanted to keep us glued to the screen. A nice little metafictional moment.
And he says, I did warn you not to watch it.
Yeah.
I love that. I love the villain who will warn you not to do it. But, like, you don't know why not, so...
No, it's a great touch.
Yeah. So, he was sending it throughout. He has killed us, the viewer, and turned us into sleep people.
Yeah.
The electric signal is turning us into sleep monster people.
It's happening right now, before your eyes. So, that's the big thing. So the Doctor lost?
Yeah. Yeah, that was an issue. Also, he created this story, so all the events were his doing, but they weren't really going to kill anyone, except the people they killed. So he wanted to make sure we kept watching. And he's like, complete with a big monster at the end. And that was actually another problem for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because we never got a good enough look at the creatures. And I almost wonder if there was a miscommunication with the effects department. The big monster at the end did not seem that much bigger when we saw it from the outside.
I didn't know there was a big monster at the end.
Yeah, the man who has not slept for 5 years.
Oh, that's right, yeah. No, he was just another one.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
He didn't present a huge problem from
He
my
was
perspective.
spoken, that he was talked about like he would be a big one. The camera shot of him looking down at Clara was clearly taller than the other ones seemed to be, from what we've seen. And yet, when we do see him using a shot from the perspective of the other monsters, he looks the same size they did. Because we never see him next to another monster. So we never have any reason to believe that he is some big badass monster like this guy says he is. He includes yes, the face, complete with a super big one at the end. I almost wonder if the effects department had not been told make this one larger. But yeah, so here's the big problem with the episode. I almost wonder if they were kind of trying to do something. One part of the problem with a lot of found footage things is important things seem to happen off screen occasionally because you can't possibly justify a person having a camera there.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing. I, as a viewer who has seen the Doctor save the world millions of times, I believe he can do something about this. And I even believe it would not be particularly interesting to watch him do.
Mm-hmm. Just the classic...
And he would be making a big point to not say it when somebody who he expected to be part of this Sandman Neuralink would be there.
Mm-hmm.
There ought to be... there would only really need to be a 30-second scene at the end, and
which would break the episode.
Probably. Yeah, and it ends with our sort of haha, I've won. Really creepy last few lines.
Yeah. some of the best creepy that Doctor Who's ever done.
Yeah, it's really disturbing. This has been almost a horror season.
Mm-hmm.
I've liked it a lot.
Isn't that great? That's 5 episodes that I consider to be successful horror.
Yeah.
And that's great because a lot of times you get whole seasons where they try and fail.
Yeah. 5?
Yeah. So there was the 2-part with the ghosts under the lake and the 2-part with the Zygons. And then there's this episode.
All right. Yeah, it was a little unclear if the second Zygon you were considering horror, or if there was something.
I guess not. But whatever. But
there's been a good number of at least stories you can consider horror, and this was it's had a great ending, and horror often doesn't have the happy ending.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm unclear on whether the Doctor. I believe the Doctor won.
Mm-hmm.
That we're going to get a twist later in the season, which I hope we don't. Which is, aha, Clara, I know you've been a Sandman the whole time. I know you.
Also, she's not actually really there. She's somewhere else and pregnant for some reason.
I hope that's not what they do.
No.
They've done a good job not doing too much, like only tying things together thematically rather than plot-wise, but maybe they will. But whatever. I believe the Doctor would be able to solve this, and I believe that it would take at most about 45 seconds to do, so we might not want to watch it.
Point the screwdriver at the right thing and
glasses.
Yeah.
But
I was just thinking of all the times that he did it with the screwdriver over the years.
Yeah. So, but we don't see that, so it's not part of the story.
Well, it can't be part of the story because this is a transmission. The transmission, of course.
The transmission, I think, doesn't actually reach the rest of humanity in their sleep pods.
Hang on. I think there's a workable version of this that captures the creepy and then gets a laugh and a moment of relief from it. Like the feed from Mr. Spooky Sandman cuts out, and then it's the Doctor's face. He's like, nope, and does a little whoosh or something, and then that's the end of the episode.
Yeah, well, because
that would be pretty fucking funny.
Yeah, because the thing is, the Doctor, I imagine, would not want to have Sandman things in his TARDIS, so he would try to keep the sand out of the TARDIS aside from the small amount in Clara's eye. He'd probably take care of, because he wouldn't want the Sandman to see him fix the problem.
Mm. But
here's another problem. Twice the Doctor said that's not their style about the monsters,
which he didn't know.
Yeah, based purely on what you've seen, the monsters tend to eat people. You're like, no, they should be subtly absorbing you. Really? Just because you get sleep in your eye when you're asleep and that's not an outright assault, you assume that they will not at all change? Look, we all used to be basically amoeba about 100 million years ago or whatever. I do not eat by going, melding food into my body. So,
I don't know. It's a episode full of questions, and it's so delighted to be confusing.
Yeah,
it's. I find it rather charming, actually.
Yeah. The only problem I had was with the ending and I'll leave it accepted if there's a second story or something. If the next episode starts with him solving this episode.
Something that would be really weird, but yes, that would be acceptable.
Yeah, because that was it ends the bad guy
won completely. That's presumably billions and billions of people dead.
Spread it throughout the galaxy, even if throughout the solar system, even if humanity has moved beyond the solar system.
Mm-hmm.
Also, okay, here's another knock I can make on the episode.
Yeah.
The no camera thing. This episode was sufficiently far set in the future that I just assumed they were nanocams.
Yeah, that's kind of...
That's why it was only Clara that really seemed something to me, and could have gotten something from the fact that I never see it from Chopra. But
that's what I was thinking.
The poor lighting means that I don't always know which one is Chopra.
Yeah, I mean, in general, I didn't catch any of the camera stuff because honestly, I didn't really... I couldn't see them most of the time, who was who, and it's hard to see the walls, so it's hard to know where someone is placed in these hallways that you can barely see and such.
I'm usually fairly good at that type of thing, so I could usually tell where I should be seeing a camera.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that often breaks my immersion in found footage things. But it didn't bother me because I just assumed, oh, okay, nanocam.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was only when she's, and then like, oh, there's Clara. Well, I mean, she was using their technology, I guess. That was the only thing that really seemed inexplicable to me because of the poor lighting and the fact, I mean, trying not to be racist here, but Indian people and Japanese people have black hair as a rule.
Yeah.
And this particular Indian person and Japanese person had black hair. And they were both very skinny. And so if I was seeing something from Grunt's perspective, or from 474's perspective, or from
the
commander's perspective, if I just see like a skinny little person with black hair, maybe that's Chopra, maybe it's not Chopra.
Mm-hmm.
So, as much as dark lighting is good for horror, they would have done better, I think, to keep some better lighting for a while. And to make it a little more clear who's what. Could be subtle, but like,
I think the scene with in the room with the pods early on was their version of that.
Yeah, but there was not enough. The one thing I really would have wanted was to have in that scene a situation where undeniably Chopra, the commander, and 474 all must have different viewpoints. And usually Chopra was sticking next to the commander, or 474, or Rasmussen. So there was never a point really where I was like, for someone to see this, it has to be like that where I was like, oh, that's weird that I'm not seeing anything from Chopra's perspective. Or where I was like, oh, for someone to see this, like that's a problem until you get a couple shots from Clara's that have the entire group, the rest of the group in this frame. And those were good. But
alright, I'm ready to wind down.
Yeah. There's not a lot we can say, but yeah, that's just one minor knock on it, was that this technology was advanced enough that I was not thinking that, even though I did comment on it, I was thinking maybe there's just nanocams, maybe there's a nanocam on Clara, I don't know. And one other one, which is a minor annoyance, and I obviously know why they couldn't have done it, but you may notice I am wearing glasses. I can see the frames of my glasses. I can see things in my field of view that would indicate it's from my eye.
Mm-hmm.
If these are from the corner of Rasmussen's eye, the corner of your eye, and you're wearing glasses,
it's just going to be mostly the frame in the middle.
yeah, you're going to have like a little bit, well, on the side.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So, anyway. Oh, one other thing I was going to say about found footage, and this is something that really good found footage does at times, is it allows the camera to, because the camera is held by an actor, well, hypothetically held by an actor, it allows the camera to be an actor.
Yeah.
And allows us to emote through the camera, and we just didn't get a lot of that. Which, I understand, it's very hard to do.
Yep.
Might consider hiding a GoPro in their helmets or something to get the weird head shakes that people do. Anyway. So ready to wind down.
Yeah, so let's actually talk. We've been talking about the logistics. The logistics seem to be a lot of it, but let's talk about some of the other stuff. Specifically, just...
Power of Stories. Again.
Yeah, it's back.
Yeah.
Power of Stories. Speaking of which, that preview for next episode.
Yeah.
Macy Williams' voice.
Oh.
You heard that, right?
No.
I think she might be back. I'm going to check.
Cool.
So that would be good.
Yeah.
It always seemed like she'd be back, but I thought she'd be back in the finale.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah. The next episode looks a little fantasy-ish.
Yeah.
Almost Harry Potter-ian.
But yeah, the episode, there wasn't a boring moment in it.
Yeah, it might seem a little like we're nitpicking.
Because, I mean, it sets itself up as being this weird tangle of confusion on purpose. And so we should judge it as such. Yeah. But as far as a piece of horror, there's no moment of boredom. There's plenty of good scenes. Like, I love that guy trying to get through the door, and the door has been programmed to only let him through if he'll sing the song while the creatures get closer. This is always my favorite scene. They're not holding on to the creatures as part of any sort of jump scare tactic. Yeah. They are coming for him, and the situation is just so unfair.
It's ridiculously tense and
funny.
Yeah, it's darkly comic, and then you've got the computer who quite clearly unintentionally, is being almost GLaDOS-ish.
I wouldn't be shocked if it were on purpose.
Yeah,
this GLaDOS character is...
Yeah, like how the people the characters in universe reprogram the base computer to let you through the door only if you sing the Sandman song.
Yeah.
Like, bring me a train! I'm pretty sure you're confusing two songs with Sandman in the name.
No, I'm singing the heavy metal cover of Sandman by Blind Guardian. Great song. But, the same song, just a little...
Yeah, I got it.
Little meadly. But there are some other concerns. Oh, yes. You had so many things to say about found footage. My thought was this. Coming into it, the very fact that it's found footage, the Doctor and Clara feel out of place, and specifically they feel less in control. Mm-hmm. Because they're not in the environment, the shooting environment they're supposed to be in, and this translates to the screen as the situation being out of their control. They're out of place.
Yeah.
Other thought is, just generally, even though I am confused as hell about exactly what is going on, it is nevertheless clear that this technology is out of control and people are going to be transformed. And I can only speak for my own phobias, but it tickles just the right fear for me of something, of humanity being overpowered and free will being overpowered by an accident.
Yep.
Is something that always seems to me to be like one of the more frightening things.
Yeah.
So on a fundamental level, it scratches the itch of paranoia in me.
Yeah, that's a little less the sort of fear I have. That said, I gotta say, if you kind of are wondering about watching this, you're thinking, well, they didn't love it. As another thing, I think that they could have worked to make bring a little more found footage in. Like, I think maybe have it set a little closer to the modern day. Would have addressed the camera thing.
Yep.
A lot of things. And there's no reason that this can't be an Arctic base or an underground base or something instead of...
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've already done underwater in the Arctic in the last half a year or so, but still would address the nanocam thing. But that said, I had a lot of complaints with this episode in this video. Mm-hmm. Well, to kind of make the point, these are very minor issues that I'm bringing up.
I feel differently because these issues are about fundamentally the kind of twist and turns that the episode wants to be. Well, so I feel critically completely lost as to how to deal with this episode. From
when I say minor things, I mean minor as far as affecting my enjoyment of the episode.
Because I was having a bonkers great time, and when I was like, this is total bullshit. This is complete garbage. I'm having a great time. I'm sort of putting my judgment on hold, and at the end, it's just my judgment was never. I was never properly. It was never properly explained, so I just feel a little bit lost.
There's definitely things things they could have done for this to improve it. Still had a great time, and for a lot of people, that's going to be what matters. Mm-hmm. definitely matters to me.
So, grades?
So yeah, that's just what I wanted to say, is that these are minor issues as far as what did they enjoy? Was this a fun story to watch? If you're not trying to watch critically, if you're just trying to have a good episode of Doctor Who, you're probably not going to care too much about this. So, great. C+.
B+ with the caveat that you have to watch it.
Yeah. My C+, I'm giving C+ with a caveat of also really recommended, despite maybe not being one of the better grades we've given this season. Just gotta make like a minor point. This has been a great season. This is the lowest grade I've given this season. Does not mean I didn't love this episode.
Yeah, I'm really thrilled. It's just there's still time. I love last season, and they did produce In the Forest of the Night, which is one of Doctor Who's worst. So there's still time for them to screw it up.
Still, this is, I'd say, definitely been one of the better seasons.
It's better than season 8, which I wasn't expecting.
Yeah.
Very incredible. And I noticed, by the way, very interesting. I was the one who was more worried about the issues of confusion in the episode, and yet I rated it more highly.
Yeah.
So I guess
also the largest difference between our two.
Our standards are very strange. It's very weird. Regardless, I think we're out.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Click.
So do you know what we forgot to do?
What?
Hey, I'm Sam.
Oh yeah, I'm back.